Okay. What is your full name?
My full name,
Mm-hmm.
Frankie Eunice Greenway White.
Where did your parents select this name for you?
Uh,
Why did your parents select this name for you?
because my daddy wanted me to be a boy, and he was going to name me Frank. And after I was a boy, then he wouldn't let him name me nothing else, so they put I-E on it and named me Frankie.
Oh. Um. When, and where were you born?
I was born in Domino, Texas.
Is that a big town?
No, that's a country town, and it was in Cass County.
Oh. How did your family come to live there?
Come to live there.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's parents, they came from Louisiana, and she was born in Texas. She was born in Texas. It was at that time it was Alamo, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And my daddy's parents, they lived in Wilton, Arkansas. So then he came to Texas and he married my mother. My mother. It was Alamo, Texas at that time. And then later on they named it Domino.
How old were they when they got married?
Huh?
How old were they when they got married?
I think my mother was 24. And I think my dad was like 26. It was something like that. How do I know when they got all of it?
Were there other family members in the area?
Huh?
Were there other family members in the area?
My mother's mother and dad was there in there. They was there, and she had siblings there.
Did you guys have bathrooms or electricity or anything?
Had what?
Bathrooms or electricity or anything like that?
No, we had outer houses. We had outer houses until later down in the years we finally got electricity come through there.
Did you have a telephone?
No, we didn't have no telephone.
Were there any special items in the house that you remember?
Well, in my early days, we didn't have television. We had radios. And in my later years, before I left, I know I had married. After I left, my dad them got a television.
And that was it?
They got a television. Yeah, they didn't get no telephone. My mother got telephones in the 70s, I think. She got a telephone in the 70s, but I had moved away from home at that time.
What was one of your earliest childhood memories?
My childhood memories?
One of your earliest ones?
Working in the field. We had to work in the field, and we had wooden stoves that burnt wood, and we had to saw wood. We had to cut our own wood. We'd go in the woods and saw our own wood. And I remember as an early girl, my dad would take us fishing.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
Was the wood cutting hard?
Yeah, we had to pick cotton. We had to chop cotton. And we had to drop corn, plant the corn. And we plant stuff like peas and watermelons. We raised peas and watermelons and cantaloupes. And we lived by a track, a railroad track, and the trains would go by. people on the train was way better. And we had a mailman would bring our mail on the dirt road. We was on a dirt road.
What years was this in?
What years was that?
Yeah.
Let me see. That was like in the, I was born now in the 30s, and that was in the 30s and the 40s. That was in the 30s and the 40s, because I got married in 51.
What were some of the personalities of your family members?
Personality like what?
Any kind that stuck out.
Huh?
Any kind of personalities that stuck out.
We were all playable. We played a lot. Our personality, we played. We would go berry picking.
What about your mom and dad?
My mom and dad,
Mm-hmm.
well, they farmed. He was a sharecropper. He was a sharecropper and farmed. And he had mules and horses and chickens and dogs and cats.
What kind of games did you play growing up?
We would play ball, sandlot. We'd play out in the fields. In the past, we played ball, baseball, and as big as ball we played would be ball and catch ball. And we would shoot marbles. We shoot marbles on the ground with my brother. We shoot marbles with the brother.
How many sisters and brothers did you have?
I had 3 sisters and 1 brother. There was 5 of us, and my oldest sister and brother were twins. They were twins. They was 2 years older than me.
What was your favorite toy?
My favorite toy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember having a toy.
Oh.
I don't even remember having a toy. A doll? I remember my mother made us a doll. We had dolls. Me and my sister, we had dolls. We played with dolls.
What was your favorite thing to do when you were a child?
Play. As I was a younger child, my favorite was fishing. I always loved to fish. I'd go fishing with my grandmother, and we'd go walk down the railroad track. We'd fish, and we'd have to walk to the fishing, and that was my favorite thing I would do.
Did you have family chores?
Got what?
Family chores.
Family chores.
Yeah.
We had family chores in the evening time. We would have to, because we had a well on our side of the house. We had to drive a well. We didn't have running water in the house. And we would have to get our water in, and we'd have to bring wood in at night for the fireplace, and for the heaters, we had wood heaters.
Did you get an allowance?
Huh?
Did you get an allowance?
No, we didn't get no allowance. My daddy, they didn't give us an allowance. They just told us that we needed things. And we had to walk to school. We had about 1.5 miles to walk to school, whether it rained or snowed, sleeted, or whatever. We had to still walk to school every day, walk forwards and backwards.
What was school like for you as a child?
Huh?
What was school like for you as a child?
What was school like when I was a child?
Mm-hmm.
It was great. School was real good. I liked the school.
Did you like to learn?
Like the what?
Did you like to learn?
Learn?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to carry our books back and forth. We didn't get assignments like you all get. We didn't get assignments. We had to come home and read and do all the math and everything at home. But they didn't give assignments, but we know where we was.
Was
And
your
I would teach the thing, and we didn't get our lesson, and we didn't do right, and talked and played, they would whoop us. The teachers had the privilege of whooping the kids then. They would whoop us good.
was your school segregated?
No, not until the later years before we got segregated. I was in high school when our school come to be segregated. Our school was all black schools, and we had outer houses. Our school didn't have electricity in them. We had outer houses, and we didn't have no dumpsters. We'd have to do our own cleaning at school, sweep the floors and clean up. But we would leave in the evening time.
What was your favorite subject?
Arithmetic.
Did you play any sports or do any activities in school?
I played basketball.
You played
I
basketball?
played basketball and softball. But we played outside. We didn't have gyms and things to play in. We played out on sandlot basketball and football.
Were you a cheerleader?
Huh?
Were you a cheerleader?
Was I what?
A cheerleader.
No. Yeah, I was a cheerleader. I was in the cheers, but I wasn't a leader in the year, but I was on the cheer team. The basketball cheerleaders for the boys. Yeah, we was in there. We had cheerleaders. That's why I was trying to get these kids to learn one that I know when y'all was playing the cheer song, but they wouldn't.
Who were your childhood heroes?
Huh?
Who were your childhood heroes?
What?
Who were your childhood heroes?
My childhood hero.
Yeah.
My childhood hero?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know who's childhood hero.
Like, who did you want to be like when you were a kid?
Oh, who did I want to be like when I was a kid?
Yeah.
My mother and my grandmother. I want to be like my mother and my grandmother.
What was your favorite songs or type of music?
Church music, gospel music was my favorite music. And I sang in the choir. We used to have children choirs at church.
Did you have any pets?
Have any what?
Pets.
Any what?
Pets. Animals.
Yeah, we had dogs and we had cats. Yeah, we had dogs and cats.
What was your religion growing up?
My religion
Yeah.
was a CME Methodist.
When you were a kid?
Huh?
When you were a kid?
Yeah, I was Christian in church as a baby, and when I was a kid in the CME church, and that's Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. The CME. And that's what my mom and dad was, my grandmother.
Who were your friends growing up?
Who was my friends?
Yeah.
Well, we had cousins who was our friends, my cousins and my neighbor kids. We had the neighbor kids. Neighborhood kids, kids in the neighborhood, school kids.
What world events had the most impact on your life while you were growing up?
What had the most impact on my life?
What kind of world events?
What kind of what?
World events. The things that happen in the world.
In the world?
Yeah.
Like my uncles and aunties would come home on vacations and visit us. Visit visit. My grandmother and grandfather was there. And my uncles and auntie would come to visit us during the summer months, and we would have picnics and go up on the rivers and have picnics.
What was your dinners like?
My dinner,
Yeah, your family dinners.
we eat off of the farm stuff we raised, like peas and potatoes, sweet potatoes and iced potatoes and corn and greens, collard greens and turnips and mustard, English peas. We raised everything we eat.
Did you eat at a big table?
Yep, we had a big table where 7 people could sit around the table. We had 2 benches on each side of the table. We had 1 bench on each side of the table. We had 2 benches, and my mother and daddy had a chair. They would sit at the end, and we children would sit on the side. And then she would cook and put all the food in bowls on the table, and we would sit around and eat.
Who cooked all the food?
My mother,
Did you help?
yeah, we helped when we got big enough to help. When I got big enough to help, then we would help her cook. She would let us cook little things, help her cook. But my mother was over the kitchen cooking.
What was your most favorite food?
What was her favorite food?
What was your favorite food?
Whatever we got. I remember my mother used to make she'd make her biscuits, and they would be so good. We'd have biscuits and butter and jelly and syrup. That would be good. And then she would make cornbread, and we would have milk and cornbread to eat. Because we milked our cows and got our own milk, and we chewed and got our butter, made our own butter, and got our milk. And we would eat milk and bread, buttermilk and sweet milk bread, cornbread in it. And that was good.
How were your holidays as a kid?
Huh?
How were your holidays as a kid?
Hard.
Your holidays.
My hard days.
Your holidays, like Christmas and your birthdays.
Oh, I like that holidays. My holidays. Now, the 4th of July was my dad's birthday. He was born on the 4th of July. And we always celebrated the 4th of July. So he would pull his first watermelon. We growed our watermelons. And every 4th of July, we'd make sure he had a watermelon that we pulled, whether it was ripe or green. He always pulled that watermelon on his birthday, the 4th of July. And then at Christmas time, we all would have a sack, and we would have a stocking. One of our stockings, and we're hanging on the fireplace, and they would put 1 apple and 1 orange and 1 nut and some candy in all our sacks on the fireplace. We would decorate our Christmas tree with things that we got out the woods. We would make things to go on the Christmas tree. And that was our biggest celebrations, would be his birthday on the 4th of July and Christmas. And Memorial Day, we would always have to go to the cemetery and clean off the graves. We would go to every memorial, we went to the cemetery and cleaned off graves, dead folks' graves. That's why the community would meet up.
Did you have any special traditions for your holidays?
Special dishes.
Special traditions.
Special traditions?
Yeah.
No, we didn't have no tradition. The only thing on Sundays we didn't do no washing and ironing and stuff like that. We went to church on Sundays. And then we come home and we play ball, but we didn't do no work on Sundays.
How is the world today different from what it was when you were a kid?
The workday.
The world.
The world.
The world.
Oh, the world.
Mm-hmm.
How was the world different now when I was a kid?
From today.
Oh, it was a lot of difference in what back then when I was a kid than it is today. Because people wasn't shooting and killing up one another and fighting and going off. That wasn't going on when I was a kid. The world has got a lot of that in it now. Although my brother, he did get killed.
How?
some other boy stabbed him in the back. He was 18 years old, and some boy stabbed him in the back.
Do you remember why?
Over a girl, some girl. And that was the only brother we had, and he was a twin to my older sister.
Who was the oldest relative you remember as a child?
The oldest what?
The relative that you remember as a child.
The oldest what?
The oldest relative you remember as a child.
My oldest relative that I could remember as a child.
Yeah.
My grandfather, my mother's dad, and my mother's mother.
What do you remember about him?
They were just loving grandparents. We loved our grandparents. We loved to go stay all night with them. They was in the country. We all was in the country, and I remember we loved to go stay all night with them. What you gonna do with this? You writing down?
It's for an assignment for history class.
Is you gonna have to read that?
No, I just have to give it to the teacher.
You gonna rewrite it?
On the computer, I'm going to retype it on the computer.
Oh.
What stories have passed down to you when you were a kid?
What stories?
Had your parents passed down to you?
What stories that my parents passed down to me as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
My mother always talked about them being so many of them in the family. See, my mother and grandfather had 15 children, and my mother was the fourth child. And then they lived in a like a 3-room bedroom house, and that included the kitchen and all. And they all would get up. They had to go. All of them went to church. Some of them would go with their dad. Some of them would go with their mother. My granddaddy, he was a Baptist. He belonged to the Baptist church, and he would carry some of the children with him to the Baptist church, and my grandmother would carry some of the others with her to the Methodist church.
Do you know anything about did they talk about your ancestors?
My ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Who's my ancestors?
People before you in your generations.
Sure, that was before me.
Like older people. Like do they talk about your past generations?
Oh, we had older people. Like I had my aunts and my cousins, and they would help my mother see to us, and they was in the community. We had older people in the community that we would have to do things for them if they wanted somebody. We had country stores, and I remember we had to go walk to the country store for them. They would ask my mother, could we go to the store for them? So we walked and passed by their house. They would tell us, ask your mother, can you go to the store for me? And we'd go on, and sometimes we have to go to the store for them, and my brother, we'd have to go sometime and help them get in their wood and water, the older people in the community. We would get the mail out of the boxes and carry mail to
them. How many recipes had you got passed down in the family?
How many refugees?
How many recipes got passed down in the family?
Recipes?
Yeah.
Let me see. The only one I remember, I know the recipe that my mother made of those biscuits, and the recipe for ice cream still in the family, and the biscuits and the cornbread is still in the family. And making the turkey and dressing, chicken and dressing. We used chickens though, wasn't many turkeys. We didn't have turkeys. We had to use chickens, and we had chicken and dressing. like grown hens. That's what we make our dressing out of it. And we raised our own eggs, had chicken that laid the eggs. We milked the cows. I done told you that, though. And on Sunday evenings, we would go out in the pastures at night and kill snakes. We had a lot of snakes around, and we kill snakes. And there would be water moccasins, and they call them black runner snakes and cane snakes.
What was the full name of your spouse?
Huh?
What was the full name of your spouse?
My four members of spouse.
What was the full name of your spouse?
The full name of my spouse
Yeah.
was Travis Burnell White.
When did you meet your spouse?
Where did I meet him?
Yeah, when and how did you meet him?
I met him in school. We went to school together, and I met him in high school together. And then after he went through the 11th grade, and I went through the 12th grade. And after we got out of school, during the summer months, we started courting, and then we got married. And we got married in 51.
What was it like when he proposed?
When I did what?
What was it like when he proposed to you?
What was it like when he was close to me?
Proposed.
Proposed to me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember when he did, he asked my mother, told me, could we get married? Because he asked me would I marry him, and I told him, yeah, I said, but you got to ask my mother and daddy. And so he did. He come up and asked my mother and daddy, and they let us get married.
When did you move to Oregon?
We moved to Oregon in 19, what? Let me see now. let me see. I think we moved out here in 1959. No, 59. No, yeah. We moved here in 1959, I think. If we moved here in 59, how many years would that give us here?
I don't know. Like 60?
Huh?
More than 60?
No, I ain't been out here no 60. We moved here in, I think it was 58. No, we didn't move here. Wait a minute. I think it might have been 60. No, I was here in 69, 68, because my daddy died in 68. I think it was 59, but 58 when we come here. We moved here in 59.
When did you get married?
We got married in 51.
Where did you get married at?
In Texas. We got married in Texas.
Was it in church?
Huh?
Was it in a church?
No, we got married at the courthouse in Texarkana. We got married at the courthouse in Texarkana.
What was the best memory about the wedding?
What was the what?
The best memory about the wedding.
We didn't have no wedding. We just went to the courthouse and got married.
Oh, you had to sign the papers?
Yeah, we had to sign the papers. And he wasn't old enough to marry, but his mama signed the papers. I didn't have to have, I was old enough to marry. He wasn't. And his mama signed the papers for him.
What did you admire about him?
What did I admire about him?
What did you admire about him?
His sisters, it was real nice to me. His family. But I was saying, what about him? Really nothing. He was all right. He was a nice young man.
What do you believe is the key to a successful marriage?
Huh?
What do you think the key is to having a successful marriage?
Being in love. And being honest with one another.
How did you find out you were how did you feel when you found out that you were going to be a parent?
Sad. I was sad because I wasn't ready for a child.
How old were you?
18.
Why did you choose your child's name?
Huh?
Why did you choose your child's name?
Because that was the middle of my name. My name was Frankie Eunice. And I never did use Eunice part of that name, so I just named her give her my middle name, Eunice.
Why didn't you have another kid?
I just didn't have another one.
What was your proudest moment as a parent?
My what?
Your proudest moment as a parent.
A silent moment.
What was your proudest moment as a parent?
A proudest moment.
Yeah.
My proudest moment as a parent. When my baby started to school.
Did she have good grades?
Yeah, she had real good grades.
What did your family enjoy doing together?
What did we enjoy doing together?
Yeah.
Going to the park and to the church. Well, he wasn't Christian. Going to church together and to the park and going to my mother's house and his mother's house for dinners.
What was your job?
What was my job?
Yeah.
When I was married?
Yeah, when you were married.
Well, when I married, we worked in the farm. We worked with his dad in the sharecropping in the farm, and then we moved to Portland, and then I done laundry work.
What was Grandpa's job?
He worked at the foundry. He was a foundry worker. Worked at the Esco foundry. Well, he did start out working at a restaurant. He worked at the restaurant, and then he went to the foundry, and he worked at the Esco foundry till he died.
Why did you become a laundromat?
Well, I just didn't put in for work, and that's what was open, and that's what I started to do. And I worked at American Linen. It wasn't a laundromat; it was a laundry, the linen company, American Linen.
Why did Grandpa become a welder?
Because he put in for the job. But his oldest brother, had told him about the opening man, so he put in, but he got on at the Esco foundry work.
If you could have another job, what would it be?
If I had another job, what would it be?
Yeah.
I don't know. If I had another job, what it would be? It would be foster parent. I'd be a foster parent.
Why?
Well, I keep children. I like kids. I like little children. How many more questions you got?
I don't know. Of all the things you learned from your parents, which do you feel was the most valuable?
The most valuable was to do the right thing do the right thing and stay in the church and be kind to people and nice to people. You don't know how many more questions you got?
I have a couple more.
Oh.
Who taught you those?
Huh?
Which parent taught you those?
My mother. Well, my mother and dad both, but my mother did the most of the teaching to it.
What kind of jobs did your mother and father do?
My mother farmed, and my daddy worked on the railroad. And my mother was a hospital lady, housekeeper. She never had a job. She worked on the farm.
What accomplishments were you most proud of?
What?
What accomplishments were you most proud of?
What accomplished I was most proud of?
Yeah.
What did I accomplish? My family.
What is one thing you want most people to remember about you?
How nice I was to my family and helping them to get where they are. My daughter and her children and grandchildren.
Okay, Grandma.
That I was proud that I have my health enough so that I can help them.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
You don't let Elana see that?
No? Well, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.